the south one rainy autumn night, the sky above and the mud below. They walked into the deacon's bar, they were Mexican by sight, the sky above and the mud below. They threw their horsehair bridle down, we trade this for whiskey rounds. The deacon slammed the bottle down, and the two men started drinking. Their hair was long and black, tied up behind their ears, the sky above and the mud below. Their faces were identical, like one man beside a mirror, the sky above and the mud below. Someone whispered that beats all their wanted posters on the wall. Twin brothers named his Sandoval, horse thieves from Bocavas. The bridles and the belts they wore were braided gray and black, the sky above and the mud below. The color of the roan horse once belonged to Deacon Black, the sky above and the mud below. The fastest horse for miles around had been stolen from the old fairground some months ago outside of town. We tracked but never found him. When the deacon was a preacher who'd fallen hard from grace, the sky above and the mud below. He owned the bar and the string of quarter horses that he'd race, the sky above and the mud below. A deacon, he could drink and curse, though he still quoted sacred verse. With sheriff, judge, he owned the hearse, a man you did not anger. The sky above and the mud below, the wind and the sleet and the rain and snow, two horse thieves from old Mexico, drinking hard and singing. One brother, he spoke English, so he inquired as to their work, the sky above and the mud below. The man said, "Mister, we braid horsehair, bridle ropes and whips, the sky above and the mud below. And this fine bridle I did make, their own horse killed by a lame bone break. His horsehair rope, now horse meat steaks. Yeah, we cleaned him to the bone." But his brothers, they were ignorant, or didn't know just where they were, the sky above and the mud below. The deacon's face grew darker as he measured every word, the sky above and the mud below. "You horsehair braiding sons of bitches stole my claim to earthly riches. Someone go and dig a ditch. There may well be a hanging." One brother reached inside his shirt, searching for his gun, the sky above and the mud below. Too late for Deacon whipped around his sawed-off Remington, the sky above and the mud below. The twins, they raised their hands and sneered. Dyck was grinning ear to ear. "This court's in session, hear ye hear. Yours truly is presiding." But the trial commenced and ended quick. They didn't have a hope, the sky above and the mud below. Deacon says, "We'll cut your hair now, boys, and you can braid yourselves a rope, the sky above and the mud below." The Old Testament, it says somewhere, an eye for eye and a hair for hair. Covet not thy neighbor's mare. I believe it's Revelations. fancy horse-haired bridle. It hangs on Deacon's wall, the sky above and the mud below. Next to the wanted posters of the brothers de Sandoval, the sky above and the mud below. And the twisted ropes so shiny black, the artifacts that broke their neck, the craftsmanship he did respect. But they should have stuck to Braden. The sky above and the mud below, the wind and the rain and the sleet and snow, the Deacon's hearse is rolling slow on the first blue light of morning.
I felt sometimes alone and afraid of tomorrow. No light could I see, no light could I see. Like a boat in a storm, all alone and forgotten. Rescue me, rescue me. Sweet Jesus, send your angels down. Take us through this world somehow. For the heart is weary and sometimes weak from the hopelessness of a restless sleep. There's a place I can go, high on the mountain. Let me believe, let me believe. Take all of my cares, like the wind and the water. Let me be free, let me be free. Sweet Jesus, send your angels down. Take us through this world somehow. For the heart is weary and sometimes weak from the hopelessness of a restless sleep. When the sun breaks through the clouds of tomorrow, no dark will there be, no dark will there be. The joy will abound and the sorrow forgotten. Shine on me, shine on me. Sweet Jesus, send your angels down. Take us through this world somehow. For the heart is weary and sometimes weak from the hopelessness of a restless sleep. Sweet Jesus, send your angels down. Take us through this world somehow. For the heart is weary and sometimes weak from the hopelessness of a restless sleep. There's a place I can go,